We're going to do this in a way that's kind of conversational so that we can both learn things along the way. I am here with the beautiful and talented Jennifer Rose, my spouse, my wife for life, who is a talented tarot card reader, astrologer, and psychic. So happy to be here with you, my love. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm doing well, thanks. I had to laugh and giggle when you said I'm an astrologer, but I am learning. And I'm often wrong, as you'll find out as Mel and I talk every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time about the next week and current events or whatever it is that's on our astrology loving minds.
Yeah, you're still learning, and I'm still learning. Most people who are very interested in astrology, think of themselves as lifetime students of astrology, and so we're all kind of stumbling our way through at different levels of understanding, and I think that's part of what this conversation is going to be good for, is like, and just helping others sort of understand astrology as we go forward too. Hopefully, a little
Yeah,
better at a
yeah.
time, right?
I know that you've helped me learn astrology, so thank you.
Oh, sweetheart, thank you. Okay, so I am just going to give us a little heads up about the week ahead here, or we're going to give everybody a heads up about the week ahead here. And we're starting on Monday, which is tomorrow, and tomorrow is the full moon in Cancer. So
Yeah.
full moon is a time of culmination. It's a time where we kind of look back on what it is we've achieved in the last weeks and give ourselves a little pat on the back. And that full moon in Cancer is right at home in Cancer. It's significant because this is always the first full moon of the year. And, that it has a lot to do with how things feel to us, how we are taking care of ourselves and others in our lives, and sort of an opportunity um, to what do I want to say? Cleanse our sacred spaces and prepare for the coming year.
Yeah.
And uh, and
Uh,
go
can I
ahead,
interrupt you here?
please do,
I think
please do.
I'm not going to continue to interrupt you, but I think this is a good time to let everyone know because I've not done a very good job at advertising this, but I am going to be doing a altar for the full moon in Cancer starting tomorrow at 4:27 Central Standard Time. Fingers crossed, if all electronics and humans work with me to get it all done, we will do that. And I plan on kind of stoking that spell for around 2 to 3 days just to kind of keep it
Mhm.
going. So if you'd like to join me to see what kind of stuff I offer up to the universe and the stuff that I choose to give away, bring a pen and paper, just bring yourself, and I will spell for you. So I'm
Yes,
doing a
I
full
love
moon
that.
spell tomorrow at 4:27 p.m. Central Standard Time as the moon becomes full in Cancer. And then for the next couple of days after that, I'm going to continue to kind of stoke that spell to make sure that it gets out there into the universe until it just goes away.
Okay, and is there an intention for the spell beyond just celebrating the full moon?
Oh, there's a lot of intentions with this one, but I think a lot of the intention will be about, self-care, and it will be about how we're relating to ourselves and our families and what, home is considered and, just
Mhm.
talking about the stability of home wherever, whoever, whatever you might find that in. And I find myself releasing a lot this time. So I think I was just telling you that I decided that I wanted to get off of Facebook and probably Instagram. Those are pretty big releases. So,
Yeah.
we're going to release as well.
Yes, full moon is a great time to let go of some things or begin to see what we can let go of. Like by the time we get here, we know what's working for us and we know what's not, and we can just sort of try to release or let go of or forget about it, right? If it wasn't
I
working
get
for you
that.
in the first place.
Absolutely, yes, and I am looking at my wee moon. I had some notes for this, but I'm just gonna have to fly by the seat of my pants because our electronics did not work in the way that we thought they would, so
Never quite what you think it's going to be.
Gen X stuff, you know?
Yes. So happy full moon on Monday. Happy full moon in Cancer. The moon is at home in Cancer, and it really is very much about our home lives. It's about, how our bodies feel to us, how our feelings, our emotions, and intuitions feel to us, and our level of comfort in our home space and around the people that we keep close. And so that's very much going to be the focus of this full moon. Additionally, that full moon it's going to become full and then it's going to have a conjunction with Mars retrograding Cancer. So this is a really good time to be reflecting on our actions and our impulses and really noticing like, okay, my impulse is to react to this in this way, but maybe check myself before I wreck myself, right? So that I am not underhanded or passive aggressive or
Mhm.
just saying things to let off steam that I don't really mean and I might regret later.
No regrets.
No regrets.
Yes,
And then
uh-huh.
also the other thing that's happening is that after the moon is full and it does this conjunction with Mars, then it's going to go over into Leo. The moon's going to go into Leo and it's going to oppose Pluto. So that, this is just a moment of culmination is what I want to say is that, like it's not just a full moon, but there are added things that are happening that have a strong effect. They have energy to them and things are changing. Okay, so this is a really good time to be focused on what is changing for you, I think, and on like what are you going to allow to change in your life, right? Change is the constant, right? There's no avoiding it. What happens when you avoid transformation and change, Jennifer?
Oh, it comes after you. It just, like, forces you to do that work. I think it's kind of like long ago, and I mentioned this a lot, but it really is a powerful tool for me to realize when things especially when things don't go work out because I take a lot of things personally and I get mad and upset or think about what I could do better, and I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist, but Nadia says, the universe, if you're going outside of what it is that the universe is meant for you to do or is opening for you or creating for you to do, if you get off of that
Mhm.
path, the universe is gonna put you right back
Put
on
you
it.
right back. Yeah. And the presence of
So
Pluto in all of this is really like, okay, well, this is where I thought you would be by now, so I'm just going to pick you up and put you there.
right,
You resisted this change, and so now it's going to be hard for you. It's like
right.
the guy that comes to beat you up, and he's like, well, we can do this the hard way or the easy way.
Right. Oh gosh. I've heard that before. It's like
So,
teachers in the 80s or something.
yeah, this is going to hurt
Math
you more than
teachers.
it hurts me.
Oh yeah, that
So
was spanking.
this time people are very emotionally reactive, right? And we've got a Saturn thing coming up this week where Venus is moving toward a conjunction with Saturn. So Saturn is very much involved in this week's astrology as well. And with that Mars and Cancer behavior, we're very sensitive, and we're very sort of hyper vigilant, very protective of ourselves and what is ours. But, in opposition, the moon in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, wants us to take care of business, so there's this sort of push and pull that we're dealing with between make progress, do well, and, like watch your emotional reactivity at the same time.
Yes, I mean, you talking there just brought up a couple of things, current event wise that are happening. Well, current event wise for me, I should say, but I'm feeling that emotional push and pull. I'm a Capricorn rising and I have a water moon of Pisces. And
Mhm.
so I'm feeling that those emotions, but they're not hitting me as strong as I think they are other people that have either more watery signs. I think
Mhm.
cancers in and of themselves are probably just um feeling like they're gonna blow up or cry one minute and then just being like, I love you. Like we're all just a little bit emotionally drunk right now and we don't know what to do with ourselves. We love you and we don't like you. Like
Yeah.
it's just total constant. But for me, I hate conflict and I can sense people's emotions. And this is the time when it's a little dangerous for me because I tend to not communicate with people in the ways that I need to. And my Capricorn, my Saturn daddy is what I call it. My Capricorn dude is just like, hey, so all these things are on your calendar, right? And I know that this person is feeling this way, but you still need to ask them to take care of that. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
how am I going to ask them to do that? Like how do I still interact in a work way, like just kind of just the facts, ma'am type of way with, someone like, first of all, I'm emotionally reactive. So I don't know if I go to somebody and they emotionally react, I don't know how I'm gonna react because it's just all like right there on the tip of your
Mhm.
arms. And then, we can't help but think about all the things that are going on in the world, especially the fires in California. It's
Mhm.
really having us take stock of what home means to us. And is it a
Yes.
wooden structure? Is it just the memories? Is it, like things that we've lost in there? Like I think we're all just kind of looking at the value emotionally, monetarily of these things. And,
Yeah.
unfortunately, these people didn't have a choice but to lose everything that they had. And that's like true Pluto transformation here. And, you
Mhm.
know, helping, uplifting, and supporting people with positive and kind words for everyone, not just I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here because I'm getting lost in the emotionality of it already, but I know that we're all, like, tuned into these fires and
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh my gosh, LA is gonna burn." And I don't know
Mhm.
if you all remember this, but Melanie and I were going to move to Los Angeles, and we feel like it didn't work out on so many levels, and we tried and tried and tried, and we were just, like, almost there. And we feel like this is a reminder of, sometimes rejection is
Mhm.
protection. And
Yeah.
I feel really blessed and I feel really depressed about what's happening there. And then the
Mhm.
politicizing of it all is just it's just too much. So I think that we're
It's
all just emotionally here and then we're just trying to figure out how to keep going or keep working. And it's just
it's a very good example of just the ambient vibe right now of Mars being retrograde in Cancer and these oppositions to Pluto and these strong conjunctions coming up. I want to move on just because we want to
Mhm.
keep within a certain time frame.
Yes.
And I'm going to throw a few words at you like we do, Jennifer, and
Mhm.
see what comes off the top of your head for
Mhm.
this aspect that's happening on Monday. And that is the sun trine Uranus.
I think that there's going to be some surprises. Uh, I don't exactly remember where Mercury is at this time, but I think that we're
Mhm.
going to see a lot of stuff. I think we're going to hear about a lot of stuff, and I think that they're probably going to come out of left field,
Mhm.
honestly. Um, and
Yeah.
just kind of like the wildfires happen, just like out of nowhere. Like I
Yeah.
think this is still the embers of
Mhm.
what we've been. This is the embers of November of the election
The
of
embers of
all the
November.
feelings. The embers
100.
of November. Is that a Guns N' Roses song on the remake? Um, let's just make
Well,
that one 3 minutes long.
yeah, I will say that Mercury is in Capricorn with the sun, and so there is a lot of, like,
Right.
practical consideration of what our
Mhm.
aspirations and ambitions are, what our long-term goals are,
Right.
and with Mercury there, it sort of doubles it down and makes it very much the focus of our thoughts and words and the plans that we make, and Uranus just brings change, so I think that this feels like because it's a trine and it makes things really easy and positive, it feels like, the change we're making is switching to doing something that's really practical, for our long-term plans, like
Mhm.
maybe just some sort of upgrade or maybe some sort of, just just new way of seeing things or doing things that helps us make progress the way we want to make progress.
Yes, it kind of gives me the vibes of, someone who may be 1 foot out the door at their job and, like they're going to
Hmm.
ask for a raise. And if they don't get it, they're going to walk. Or,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people really kind of trying to make some decisions about what hours they work and what days they work
Hmm.
and what works for them now that they've had this. I feel like a lot of people are just going to experience something really surprising. And it's just going to, the reason why our plans haven't been working out so far is because it's going to shift our plans and transform them in a way that we couldn't even possibly think of.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Okay. I do see and feel that sort of that 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 thing you just described where people are thinking, I need to kind of do what I do, do what I do best here, or I need to go somewhere else so that I can do what I do best, right? Um,
Right.
and the choice is going to be sudden,
Mhm.
but I think
Yeah.
it's going to be positive, and I think that we're going to be in a practical mind frame when we do it. Okay, I'm
Hmm.
going to come at you with another uh, aspect. And that is okay, so that's Monday. We have the full moon in Cancer, and we talked all about that. And then the sun has a trine to Uranus, then which will carry on for several days. And in light of all of that, on Tuesday, the Venus then goes square to Jupiter.
Hmm. Hmm. Nothing's really popping out right now in my head for some reason, but
It's all right. So it's generally agreed that squares to Jupiter, tend to make us want to overindulge in some way, and especially Venus square to Jupiter, because this is our lower benefic, like the stuff we like, love, and can't get enough of. And Jupiter saying, yes, you can always have more. You can always have more, right?
right,
So
right.
there's a vibe here where we have an opportunity to either overindulge in something that we like or overcommit to
Mhm.
something that we would like to be able to say that we can do, um, although maybe we don't actually have the time or what we need to do it, right?
Right.
So, and this is important, this overindulgence vibe comes through every once in a while when you're dealing with squares to Jupiter, especially, or oppositions to Jupiter. But, at the end of this week, Venus, after having squared Jupiter and tempting us to overindulge, is going to meet up with Saturn in the sky. And so the bill for that overindulgence or that overcommitment is going to come due really quickly. It's just going to be like, okay, and now and
Right.
now here's the reality that you're dealing with.
Right. Yeah. I still see that as, I mean, that is still just like a chain link reaction of
Mhm.
what's already beginning this week, in my opinion. And again, that could be like just somebody out of the blue offering you, like, hey, I know this sounds crazy and you do this for a living, but would you want to come over here and help me with this thing, like starting a business or,
Mhm.
like, I don't know, but it just seems like there's a lot of opportunity there and a lot of opportunity to get to attain more for yourself. So,
So, I would say the guidance on that is, when you have a bigger opportunity, or you have an opportunity to either take more than you would normally take or do more than you would normally do, you
right.
know, stay committed and focused to what's practical and what brings you closer to your your actual goals, your concrete material goals in life. Um, and then coming up on Wednesday, the sun is opposite to Mars. Mars is retrograde in Cancer, and the sun will be in the final degrees of Capricorn. So that Cancer Capricorn opposition is still happening for us. It was it was Mars and Pluto for a while. That was when Mars was in Leo and Pluto's in Aquarius, and then it's been Mars opposite the sun, the moon opposite the sun, conjuncting Mars right there in that Capricorn Cancer thing. So it's really, like I feel like it's a lot of, checking our emotional reactiveness so
Mhm.
that we can make the progress we need to make.
Yes, yes. And when you were talking about that and emotional reactiveness, I guess I'm just stuck on the social media stuff. Like there's a lot of
Mhm.
social reactiveness, and I call it collective grief. Like
Mm.
weaponizing your grief here against other people. You're really struggling yourself and you get on there because I do it sometimes,
Mhm.
unfortunately, and I'm not always a nice person. So, you know, uh,
I
I'm
think
not
that's
always a
what.
nice person when that happens, like when I'm in pain or when
Mhm.
I'm upset about something, I'm not telling anybody. I'll go on there and lash out at people that are just like, damn, lady, what's wrong with you? Like you need to touch
You
some
mad?
grass. I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're right. But it seems to be getting really tussly in the social media realms and with, the looming closure of TikTok. Oh, whoa, like people are
Yeah.
really starting to kind of freak out.
Yeah, and, TikTok does have to do with Uranus because it's technology and it
Mhm.
helps us, deliver information and deliver, like, upgrades in perspective, so, Uranus is coming through this week and making changes, so we'll see what happens after that, right?
Right, and, oh, I think I forgot what I was gonna tell you. That happens quite often.
That's
Oh, maybe it'll come back to me.
okay. And that's Wednesday. The sun is opposite to Mars. And, it's just important to remember that day that, we might be a little more emotionally reactive, but we're also getting sort of a light shined on those places where we are being emotionally reactive. And, emotional reactivity, it also leads to power struggles. We are probably reacting to power imbalances of some kind,
Mhm.
perceived or real power imbalances. So, um, you know, pay attention to what it is that you're reacting to. I'm not saying that all of these emotional reactions are bad or wrong. It's just that we want to make sure that the response we're having is measurable against the thing that we're experiencing.
Yes, for
Okay,
me
so
this
coming up
week,
on
it's sorry.
go ahead.
For me this week, the indulgence would be self-care and
Mm.
not saying that thing that you wanna say right away, like, just taking some deep breaths. It'll
And
save
think
you
of that
the
as taking
fight.
care of yourself too, because you
Right.
can get
Oops.
combative with people, but that just means you're in combat. So the
Right.
question is, do I want to be fighting? Do I want to be in combat? And it's so much harder, but it's so much better sometimes just to back away from the conflict if you don't think that you can handle it well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, then coming up on Thursday, here's another one. Mercury quincunx to Jupiter. Quincunx is that adjustment energy, like, one way or the other, it's like a teeter-totter. What are you
Mhm,
gonna make of this?
mhm. Yeah. This to me still sounds like, maybe it is somebody's coming in to cover their ass with something, or sweeten the
Mhm.
pot a little bit, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
For instance, like, "Oh, okay, well, we didn't mean it that way, so how about $5 off your next order?" Instead or something like I don't know. It
Yes,
still seems
I
like
can
a
see
lot of
that.
announcements and a lot of stupidity is gonna just be ringing out. A lot of people are going to be the people that aren't in control of their emotions and don't understand themselves quite well are going
Mhm.
to be out there emoting to all of us
Mhm.
and trying to rope us into that emotional little roller coaster that they want us to go on with them. And we just have to stay in our own ship.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree to that. And I also am thinking right now of Jupiter as, it's a principle of expansion, but it's also sort of a principle of generosity, which is a way in which we do connect with other people by trying to be
Mhm,
generous with them. And
mhm,
it's sort of like, um, adjusting my thoughts, adjusting my words, adjusting my plans to show the generosity of my heart, right?
right,
Uh,
right.
you know, it, it's a great vibe for helping with that Mars retrograde vibe of being a little extra emotionally reactive.
Mhm,
Is sort of like, okay, but in my heart I have love. I want something bigger and better for us, and so I'm going to adjust the way I'm going to react. I'm going to adjust how I respond to people to reflect, really the love that I have for them, and not so much uh not
right,
so much the aggravation, right?
right.
Because
Yeah,
it's
kind
out
of.
there. It's out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
count your blessings.
For real. And then coming up on Friday, we have this really nice vibration. It is Sun sextiling Neptune.
Mm.
So Sun is
Sun
about
in
our work,
Capricorn.
social, and civic lives. It's about how we show up out in the world. And Neptune is the dream. It's the fantasy. It's the
Mhm,
collective experience and the sort of collective emotional vibe as well. It's been in
mhm,
Pisces for a long time,
mhm,
kind of foggy.
mhm. Kind of foggy, yeah. With my Pisces moon, I understand, that I call it the Neptunian fog. Like,
Mhm,
I think that there's going to be a lot of us who are in a really dreamlike um, trance going into the inauguration. I
yeah.
think a lot of us are, dreaming, the positive things that is going to bring to our country. And I also know that the other half are, like doom scrolling and catastrophic thinking and sharing all the absolute worst of what could happen.
Mhm,
It's kind of like here we are right there, just like try to be down in the middle, like
mhm.
try to be. I can't remember the aspect that we're talking about because I'm kind of being overtaken here by just
It's
that whole
okay.
energy, but,
Yeah, I,
um,
I think that this calls, in a little bit of moderation. It's sort of like the
mhm,
sun being helpful comes in, or sort of our outward projection, the way that we show up in the world comes in and helps to clear some of the fog just by how we participate, how we show up. We
mhm.
can help to clarify things. I like the idea of sun on fog because as soon as the sun comes out, the fog starts to lift.
Exactly, and I do love that about, the Capricorn sun with the
Pisces.
foggy Pisces. I really feel like Pisces is a real community spirit, but they also want equity, equality. They want
Mhm,
everybody to be treated equally.
mhm.
And, Saturn Daddy is just, he does certainly treat everybody equally. He expects the same out of everyone. So, like it just
Yeah.
kind of feels like still some tension, but I think that Jupiter aspect's going to mean that a lot of people this weekend who are watching all the sports balls and doing all their betting and everything, I think a lot of people are going to come into some monies this
Ah,
weekend.
that would be really positive.
Mhm.
I wish winnings for everybody.
I mean, Capricorn and Jupiter, to me, it's just like bling, 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 bling. Like
Yeah,
if you do what
yes,
it wants. So
yes.
if you choose the right,
Mhm.
then Saturn will
Yeah.
pay.
Mhm.
Jupiter will pay. Jupiter and Saturn will be like, here. And Saturn will be like, is that all you had to do for that? And Jupiter will be like, shh,
Mhm.
shh. Yeah.
And I wanna mention that that is kind of part of the subtext that we're working with this week too, is that Saturn and Jupiter are square to one another, so there is that normal that real push and pull between them because Saturn contracts and Jupiter expands. Saturn shows us our limitations and Jupiter says, "No limits," you know? So,
Kind of like
we're
buying a
kind
new
of back
car
and
with a
forth, like, "I can, I can't, I can, I can't,"
right. Going to
already.
the car dealership and saying, "I can afford X amount of money," and going back and forth with the salesperson. "Okay, well, we can take off this, or we can add this," or, just, like, adding pieces to the car to make
Mhm.
it fit within your budget,
Right. Yes,
and
yes.
going back and forth about it, like, really definitely somebody trying to get not necessarily get one over on, but just, win. It's a
Mhm.
competition.
Yes, I had an experience like that once when I was, married to my first partner, and we went to buy a car, and he wanted to pick out all of the features for the car so that it would be, the least amount of expensive he could get, and we took delivery on this car so they could make it specially for us, and it was the bare bones model. We didn't even have, like, the rear window defroster in it. And I remember the salesman thinking that that was really ridiculous that we were gonna skip the rear window defroster.
That's funny.
So,
Yes.
remember to be a little generous with yourself at this time too, like, self-care is part of self-care is, not overindulging, but, like, maybe if you know you need that rear window defroster, go ahead and pay for it, you know? If there's
Yes.
something that you're cutting out, that you're going without, on purpose, and you know you need it, go ahead and just, blend that into the mix for yourself.
Yes, yes, it is really about self-care. Just don't overindulge, don't overdo it.
Yes. And then coming up on Saturday is the Venus conjunct to Saturn. So conjunct just means that these planets are, from our perspective here on Earth, they look like they're in the same place at the same time in the sky. And
Mhm,
they're going to make each other brighter. You're going to be able to, they're both visible planets. You're going to be able to go out there at night and see them together, either very close to each other or right on top of each other, which
mhm,
is pretty cool. Um, but Venus conjunct to Saturn, that those energies are combined under pressure. And that's, the stuff we like, love, and can't get enough of, the way we attract what we want in our lives. And Saturn, the taskmaster, the big daddy that says, have you done your
mm.
homework? You know? Forgive me.
Yes.
So, earlier in the week, we had the opportunity to overindulge, and here we come to Saturday, and it's Saturn's day, and Venus says, "Hi, Saturn," gives him a big hug. And
Yes.
there's some responsibility to be taken on Saturday for anything that we might have overindulged in previously in the week. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah, so on Friday, don't overeat, don't overdrink, don't over anything, especially if you wanna enjoy a weekend that you're not, feeling unpleasant, unwell.
Mhm, mhm.
And it was kind of funny when you were talking about Venus and Saturn, and my mind went to this whole, um, animation of Venus seeing Saturn coming, and she just takes him and compounds him, and out comes a diamond. Like,
Yes.
"You can tell me what you want from me, but here's what I'm gonna give you, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna make diamonds out of it 'cause shiny.
Mhm, mhm.
It's pretty."
Definitely have the power to do that.
Well, and I think Venus really does understand the relationship, that she has with Saturn, and so
Mhm.
I trust and believe that she'll get what
Yeah.
she needs out of this whole thing, maybe a little extra.
Yeah, but I get a feeling that Venus is not always very receptive to boundaries and limitations, but when Venus is interacting with Saturn, it feels a little bit like we become attracted to things that are practical for us, or we become
Yeah.
attractive to things that are stabilizing, right?
Right, right. And I'll
So
tell you
hopefully that's coming up.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you from a Venus perspective, we don't like any boundaries on those things that we're attracting. We just want it all.
Don't tell me what to
Don't tell me what to do. And I'm gonna do it, but not the way that you want me to.
do.
Not in the way that you want me to.
Okay, and then also on Saturday, Mercury is having a sextile with Saturn. So there's actually gonna
Mm,
it's at you're
right,
you're gonna see Venus and Saturn conjunct to each other, and then Mercury is like 2 signs away in Capricorn, right? While Venus and Saturn are both in Pisces.
right.
And
Mm,
Mercury is talking to them both in this very helpful way. So I think this is like a way where, like a moment where we can actually speak into existence what practical things we do desire for ourselves, what
mhm.
we want, and how we can go about getting it.
Right? For some reason, I just thought about a protest or a clash with police.
Mhm. Okay.
The things that we like, love, and can't get enough of,
Mhm.
we will protect,
Yeah.
Venus and,
Mhm.
having to have some conversations with Saturn, um, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, there's potential there for, like, relationships with our relationships with community and our relationships with authority to be a little combustible or just under pressure, and so,
Mhm,
definitely think about the way that you're interacting with authority at this time.
mhm.
Whatever that
Yeah,
means to you,
right,
Saturn can be the law, Saturn can be the government, it can be your boss, it can be your parent, so,
right,
just thinking about the way that we interact with authority is going to be high right now.
right, and so are the punishments, like,
Mhm.
it's gonna be just a little bit extra, so,
Yeah.
just don't push it when you see it. This is not the time to be pushing things with Mars doing all these aspects and just the overall energy, that we're
Mhm.
feeling with the Aquarius and coming,
Mhm.
like it's just woof, we're really
Yeah, and
rolling
that Mars
towards something.
retrograde is go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, that Mars retrograde is here with us for a while. So this is very much like try not to just react, try very much to reflect on how your actions have worked for you in the past and try to, determine what your next action should be before you do it. So
Right.
that's the fun vibe. And then coming up on Sunday, we have two things happening, and this will be sort of the end of the conversation. Mercury is sextile to Venus that day. And so it was sextile to Saturn the day before, and Venus and Saturn are still somewhat conjunct. So it's still that vibration of talking about what we need, talking about what we want, and and making plans for like stable acquisition of the things that we desire, and just being practical about those things. But also, the sun moves on into Aquarius that day.
Mm. Mm. Oh, I was feeling that. I wasn't even paying much attention. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I
Yes.
see that.
So Sun has been in Capricorn with Mercury for a little while now, and it's been all about what, our personal ambitions and goals are, and that's a very important thing to be focused on. It's a good time of year to be focused on it. Not that we need to be out there like fulfilling resolutions right at this moment, but
Right,
making the plans and gearing up toward what our long-term goals are. And
right.
then, the sun moves on into Aquarius, and it's still a Saturn vibe because Saturn rules both Capricorn and Aquarius. But Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So it's sort of like, let's make practical change, right?
Mhm,
Saturn is practicality, but it really wants you to do the same thing the same way over and over again. Like, this is how it works. We till the field and then we water the soil and then we put the seeds down, that kind of thing. But
mhm,
when we get into Aquarius, it's more like looking at um, looking at systems of stability, right? Our
mhm.
networks for stability and wanting them to work, not just for ourselves, but for everybody.
Right?
So I love that about the Aquarian vibe, like
I do
we can
too.
be practical and make changes. Yay.
Yes. And I love it. This reminds me of a conversation I had briefly this morning with a woman who has a 21-year-old son, and she is, I think that she's a double Capricorn. And she is just beyond her wits' end because her son does not want to go to school or trade school, but he's really putting, he's not just, like not contributing to making a decision about this. He's really giving it some thought. And they finally had this conversation where he said, none of these jobs are anything that I want to do. And he's an Aquarius sun. And he's like,
Mhm,
and I don't know what it is that I want to do at all.
mhm,
But I'll figure it out. And then they said something about a Saturn return. So just like all of this Saturnian stuff, and my
mhm,
advice to her was just, like if it's nothing that really affects her bottom line, like if she can afford to have him in the house and he contributes. She said he contributes every time she asks him to do something. He gets up and does it.
mhm,
He does the trash, and he just contributes to the home. He has
mhm.
good conversations with her. And I was like, if you could let him hang out so he can figure out what it is that he wants to do. Like,
Yeah,
I don't understand why it is that we need to know what we wanna do just, like, right away. We've been asked
yeah.
that question when we were little. "What are you gonna be when you grow up?" "I don't know. Alive, I hope,"
Like, "Hey,
like,
man, I'm just a
beyond that.
kid."
Right, but, I all that to say, I wanted to remind her that there's such a job as I tell this to everybody, and Melanie, you probably heard me say it a thousand times, but there's actually a job of teaching choreography to a robot.
Yeah,
I would
basically
have never
teaching
imagined, yeah, like
robots
actual
how to
body
move. Yeah.
movement, to robots.
Mhm.
So I think if you can dream it and be it at this point in time, especially like with an Aquarius sun, thinking
Mhm.
outside of the box and just kind of seeing where things go, because things are getting ready to veer off into something different.
Yeah.
With the advent, I mean, like something is going to come down
Yeah.
technologically. We always have all these advances, you know.
Mhm.
So I think something is really going to come down and probably help him make that decision
Yeah.
about what he wants to do or who he is in the world. But I think right now, a lot of us are just kind of spinning, like trying to figure out. Everybody thinks maybe it's the new president, but that's not
Mhm.
just it. Like there's a whole lot of things going on here, and the president, sure, but there are other things that we have to pay attention to.
It,
So,
it's easy to see that there are a lot of things being changed and transformed right now. There are a lot of new sort of attitudes that we're looking into, ideas that we're looking into. This week, the president-elect really introduced the idea that we could do like other nations do and just go take over where we want to take over, that kind of thing. And this is really, truly the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And I know that this sort of nationalism or this, like worldwide security, this worldwide sort of conservative takeover that's been happening lately. It seems pretty scary, but Pluto just moved into Aquarius. The sun is going to conjunct Pluto next week. Pluto's in Aquarius for the next 20 years. And over the
mhm,
next couple of years, we have a bunch of those outer planets moving out of earth and water signs and into fire and air signs. So there
mhm,
is a shift in energy that is happening. And I know that it looks and it feels really terrible right now, but we are working toward a different way of living in the world. We're working toward a different way of, seeing ourselves, and knowing what our roles are in the world. And
mhm.
some of these old habits are just gonna like we're just learn. I feel like we're just sort of figuring out why we don't do this anymore,
Right.
And by
Yes.
that I mean all the war and the violence and the constantly being in conflict with one another and with, our neighbors and the outside world. Um, there is a vibe coming in where we're going to take action and we're going to work together for everybody's uplift. And
Mhm,
that's going to involve sometimes putting some of those politics aside and really just recognizing that we're part of a community, and our community is part of a larger community, and that community is part of a larger community, and we're all responsible for one another and for the safety and well-being of people in general, animal life in general, the planet in general. So that's the Aquarian vibe, is, a collective uplift, making things better for everybody. So when the sun moves on into Aquarius and makes that conjunct with Pluto, I think that we're going to see some sort of spark of revolution, maybe even, spark
mhm,
of, okay, here are the changes that are coming. It's going to illuminate some of the big transformations and changes that are coming.
mhm.
So
Yes. Yep. We're getting ready to see some stuff.
we are we have seen some stuff, and we're gonna see some more for sure.
See and feel some stuff. So, but we can get through it. Right now, it's just about a reaction and giving ourselves some self care. A reminder that during this time of the full moon, you might have problems sleeping. This energy really affects me. I feel like I'm sleeping. I feel like I'm waking up like at least every hour. And I feel like I'm not supposed to be sleeping or something. But I do
Mhm.
encourage you not to, beat yourself up too much if that's the case. Maybe it is that you need to walk outside and say, "Hey, moon," and just stand there for a little bit and consume some of that light on your skin, and just think about
Mhm.
how positive things, positive changes are coming, and think about the ways in which you've already positively changed or something. But
Mhm.
don't just roll around in the bed and get angry. The moon will do that to you.
That's true. Yeah, they say it's not best to lay around in bed if you can't sleep anyway. So,
Not
if
good
you
sleep
if you're in
hygiene.
bed and you can't sleep, the moon is bright. It's calling your attention to probably how you feel about things and how you feel in your home. Then, get up and do something about it, or get up and journal, or,
Yes.
reflect on what it is that you that is on your mind, obviously, if
right at that moment.
you
Yes.
are awake in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that was a tip from my Venus and Virgo placement.
Yes, Venus in Virgo loves
I
you and wants you to
I
have
I
a
love to
good.
tell you how to do something, and then I don't do it that way.
Yes, very much so. And then I'm over
Uh,
here like, "Don't tell me what to do."
right? We're both very independent people, so we're just
Yes.
like, "What did you just tell me to do? 'Cause what? No, I
No,
don't
I'm
think
thinking
so."
about it, but
Yeah. Well, this has been fun, and I don't know if I've really put a whole lot of input here, but I'm really happy to have this avenue
Mhm,
to get some information out, to talk about astrology and some current events,
mhm,
and just I don't know, just be
and of
here with
course
the community.
I will be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to give you charts and descriptions of the current astrological weather. So, you'll be able to refer back to this if you want to, or tune in on Monday and to find out about Monday and Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes.
Yes, and then reminder, I will be doing a full moon spell tomorrow at 4:27 Central Standard Time, and
Yes.
for the next few days, and I don't know what time I'll do that, but I'll announce that here on the channel,
Mhm,
and I really appreciate you having me here. I am a Venus and Virgo, but I'm mainly here on Rose Tarot, with Mel.
mhm,
And also, just before we go, I want to say if you haven't watched Mel's channel from the beginning, she's been on this for a few years now. If you go back to the very beginning, and even though the astrological aspects may not be what they are today, um, it's how I learned the symbols for the planets and everything. And it's enabled
mhm,
me to read some other, charts and understand what those planets and everything mean.
mhm.
Mel is definitely my favorite astrologer, and she has a lot of really easy to understand videos at the very beginnings. If you're just learning about astrology or just want to know, I've been wrong a lot about astrology, and that's why I'm here talking with Mel about it. Because she's the expert on these things, and I'm just talking out of my talker.
And I am not an expert. I've been wrong a lot too, but I think about it a lot.
Yes.
So,
So thank you so much for being here. And we're going to do this every Sunday at 10 a.m.
mhm.
Central Standard Time, even if no one watches until y'all start watching.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.